Thank you. Hi, I'm Jeremy Meiss, and from 95 to 97, I worked at an internet provider here in Kansas City who did the websites and e-commerce sites for the most Mission Impossible and Independence Day movies, and worked directly with Apple on some of their early e-commerce initiatives. I was hired first there as tech support, and I built out those great CDs with things like WSFTP, Netscape Navigator, Gopher, Archie, Winsock, and I progressed my way to sysadmin and network admin. And during my time there, we'd grown to take over 3 total floors in this building, and the dubious decision was made to have myself and the support team run the new Cat5 cable to the offices, and then let the contractors connect the cables to the wall outlets and number them all there. So you can see kind of the issue there. One of the many problems with this was whenever there were issues, we didn't know who was sitting where or what outlet was connected to which port on the patch panel. So the CTO decided that we should identify which patch panel port went to which outlet at each desk. So the fact that this should have been done from the very beginning and by those of us who actually ran the wiring instead of the contractors was lost on him. And it wasn't the first, nor is it the last such example in my 3 years there. We routinely butted heads around things like this. Now I mentioned we, which of course meant me. I sat at my desk after hearing the news and mentally started calculating how long it was going to take me to use the tone generator on roughly 75 connections across the 2 new floors in order to visit each outlet and map to each patch panel port sitting behind me. As I recall, I calculated it would take roughly 8 to 10 hours to do this, meaning I was looking at almost a day and a half at least being fully devoted to this asinine project. My 20-year-old attention span was not amused. I remember sitting in my desk chair looking at the patch panels behind me, and I had what can only be described as a eureka moment. I reached up, unplugged one of the cables, looked back in the chair, turned to face my desk, looked at the phone, and waited. Sure enough, I got a phone call. Now, I've reproduced the conversation as best as I can here, and I think it went a bit like this, complete with Eudora, GeoCities, eZines. So I'll let you take the next few seconds to marvel at the sheer genius of my 20-year-old brain. I had found the magical solution. Over the next roughly 2 hours, our building experience what could only be described as intermittent network outages, which affected everyone in groups of 10 because I wasn't a monster. Everyone needs to feel that sense of community over random times. However, I had successfully completed the task with the minimal amount of effort on my part. I had implemented, without even knowing it, a few of the core DevOps principles that Emily Freeman laid out in her fantastic book, DevOps for Dummies, before they were even a thing. Let's review them now. Encouraging teamwork. Instead of taking on the project all myself, I efficiently roped others in. They unknowingly provided me with the legwork, allowing me to sit in the server room with my feet up, eating bonbons until the next group of people recognized that they needed to join me in the project and give me a call. Reducing silos. So I live in Kansas. Silos are a regular thing across the plains as you travel across I-70. I can honestly say that as a result of my brilliant plan, no new silos were created during or since, and I'd say that was pretty successful. Practice systems thinking. I holistically approached the problem by using all of the resources available to me. My chair was comfortable. I had the patch panels and switches within easy reach. The telephone had a speakerphone. And I had a pen ready to write down the location, and it had plenty of ink. Learning from failure. I recognized the failure in not marking locations when the wires were run, which left me with a learning opportunity on how to automate. I also learned that a ballpoint pen was not nearly as effective as a Sharpie, so I put that into action and learned from my mistake. Communicating. So telephones. They used to be used to talk on, not text, take selfies, do TikTok videos in your bathroom with the toilet up. I used it. I communicated with multiple people over a few hours, and they were all extremely thankful for my resourcefulness and my communication skills. Accepting feedback. I heard loud and clear that people were having issues with their internet connection, so I took that feedback, rolled it into actionable results by plugging their cable back in. I then accepted they were happy with the service I'd given, and I'd say that was a very productive morning. So the challenge with any new project, whether it's software or building a deck, is how quickly you can repeat what you've just done, making any changes along the way, thus making way for the next sprint. I was able to take a 1 to 2 day process and turn it into less than half a day success story by breaking it down into groups of 10. And then finally, automation. This is where this 20-year-old really excelled. I was able to automate the manual process of going to 70 outlets in the building, down to never leaving my chair and having everyone in the building do the task for me. I dare say that was also a good example of teamwork. So this, of course, was completely in jest and not at all the correct application of DevOps principles, or really a good way of working for anything or anyone. I would like to say that I have learned a few things since then about DevOps, or so I hope. Thank you.